By the time Iranian armed forces launched the 74th wave of Operation True Promise 4, the targets had expanded to include Dimona and Arad. For the first time in the conflict, missiles struck the immediate area of Israel's main nuclear research center, wounding 180 people in a single evening. Hours later, Major General Ali Abdullahi, commander of Iran's highest operational headquarters, made the transition official. He declared that Iran's military doctrine had completed its shift from a defensive posture to an offensive one. For decades, Tehran's strategy relied on absorbing a first blow from hardened subterranean bunkers before calibrating a proportional response. Abdullahi framed the abandonment of that restraint not as a future goal, but as an accomplished fact. Tehran has discarded its previous patterns of behavior in favor of a live operational reality that dictates the current rules of engagement across the region. This offensive doctrine rests on 4 pillars, starting with preemption. Instead of waiting, Iranian forces intercept sorties before they launch. The second pillar is direct action. The IRGC has centralized command, reducing groups like Hezbollah to auxiliaries, directed straight from Tehran. The third pillar is saturation. Iran has moved away from calculated volleys toward high-volume attacks designed to exhaust air defenses. By using cheap drone swarms to force the expenditure of million-dollar interceptors, Tehran is attempting to drain coalition stockpiles of Patriot and THAAD systems. The fourth pillar is the expansion of target lists. Crosshairs have shifted from military installations to the economic backbone of the region, encompassing energy grids, IT infrastructure, and desalination plants. This manifested on March 22, when President Trump issued a 48-hour ultimatum demanding the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Iran responded by threatening the immediate destruction of every regional energy and water facility if their own fuel plants were hit. This marks the end of political signaling. In its place is a doctrine of symmetric economic devastation. There is, however, a gap between this aggressive posture and the material reality on the ground. We have to look at how an offensive doctrine can survive when the state's industrial base is being dismantled. On February 28, Operation Epic Fury delivered a massive decapitation strike. In a single night, U.S. and Israeli air assets killed Supreme Leader Khamenei, the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, and the Defense Minister. This chart shows the estimated degradation of Iran's military capacity since that night. Intelligence from CENTCOM and Israel suggests over 70% of Iran's missile launchers were neutralized and domestic production driven to zero. This reveals the wounded animal theory of their strategy. The high operational tempo is a strategic necessity. With their defensive shield gutted, they can no longer survive a war of endurance. Tehran has embraced aggression because absorbing hits is no longer a physically survivable option. Even as their industrial base collapses, the geographic scope of Iranian targeting has reached new extremes. On March 22, Iran launched 2 intermediate-range ballistic missiles at Diego Garcia. This is a joint US-UK base in the Indian Ocean, located 2,500 miles from Iranian territory. While the missiles missed their target, the range demonstrated that Tehran could theoretically reach European capitals. These operations are sustained by 31 semi-autonomous units that can launch strikes without top-down communication from a central leadership that no longer exists. This decentralized framework makes the doctrine resilient. It turns a materially weakened state into a highly unpredictable and geographically unconstrained threat. The coalition originally planned for a short, high-impact campaign to cripple Iran's deterrent and reset the regional balance of power. But 22 days later, that initial plan has completely devolved into a war of attrition spanning 10 countries. The ultimate danger of this offensive posture is that it eliminates the decision timelines. By striking on the perception of a threat, Tehran has removed the pause between escalation rungs that traditionally allowed for diplomatic intervention. The deterrent has been degraded, but the adversary rejects all restraint. The sword has replaced the shield. How long can it keep swinging?